Hey, I just got a new headset and I'm back on my PC now, so I'm gonna start making videos again. My laptop broke like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I wasn't using a headset, so I had to get both. And I've been a bit busy over the Christmas period now. Now, I wanted to discuss something because the Californian unemployment rate rose in November to 4.9%. This is not updated over here on this site right here. You can see the last update was November 20th. But you can see it ticked up to 4.9%. So now we have the unemployment rate in California going up from 3.8 up to 4.9. Now, why am I looking at California? Because it's a leading indicator for the national unemployment rate rise. And there has never been a period where it spikes up a bit over greater than 0.3% and it doesn't result in a gray bar, which is a recession. So we're for sure entering that period right now. Now, I wanted to discuss a couple of different charts. We're going to look at this one. You know, you can come up with all sorts of reasons as to why this time will be different. Why this time, for the first time in the past 200 years, it will be different and not lead to a similar outcome as in the past 200 years every single time. You can see over here we had a depression. Over here we had a pretty severe recession. Over here we had a recession. Over here we had a depression. Over here we had a, it says recession here, but it was actually a depression. Over here we had a depression. Um, Actually, no, this right here was a recession. This right here was a depression, and this right here was a depression. This right here was a recession, and now we're seeing the same thing. So it's just the money supply contracting year over year, right? Now, a lot of people will talk about how things are similar to the 1970s, and we might get a second inflation spike. The problem with that is that the banks are not lending to one another like they were back then, which is why you're partly seeing the contraction in the money supply. And people will go like they will pull up a chart of M2 and they will say, yeah, but we're just going back to trend. It's not a uh, shit coin, okay? The money supply, long-term trend. If it's contracting, that's not a good thing because it's supposed to continuously expand. It's never supposed to go back down a bit. It's not supposed to work like that. If it contracts to begin with, there's a severe or there's a serious warning sign, which is what we're seeing over here. This is the U.S. banks on unrealized losses, which is greater than 30% of their equity capital on held to maturity securities. And you can see this is back during the GFC and this is today. Okay. If we look at search results for soft landing, it's getting to the highest point since the last time we didn't have a soft landing. And everyone seems to be entirely convinced that we're going to get a soft landing, just like every single time. I mean, if we look at this right here, you can see it's the same thing. It always looks like a soft landing. The news: soft landing expected 1973, soft landing expected 1980, soft landing expected 2000, 1989, 1978, 2007. Guess what? It was never a soft landing, ever. But we're gonna get the crash when the unemployment rate starts to go up, and that will be as the yield curve starts to re-steepen. That will lead to a VIX spike eventually. Here is soft landing hopes and hard landing realities. Soft landing peak in number of news articles mentioning soft landing. Same thing right here, and you can see we're now seeing the highest or the most amount of news articles mentioning soft landing since the last two times we did not have a soft landing. Okay. So again, the unemployment rate keeps rising. It keeps rising and rising and rising and rising. And since California is the largest state by population, it's going to affect the national unemployment rate. Now it ticked down this recent month, but that happened back in '08 as well, like 0.2% down, and then it rose up like 4% the following month or the next 2 months. So I wouldn't look too much into that. Here we have the bank term funding program. So you remember the banking crisis back in March, right? That was when this spiked up right here. Okay. And then what do you notice here in the past, let's say year? It keeps going up and up and up. What is this telling you? And what is this recent parabolic rise in this telling you? It's telling you that the banks are insolvent, and there is a serious problem that people are not paying attention to. People think the banking crisis is over, but it's clearly not. They keep having to borrow from the banks, I mean, from the central banks, from the Fed's bank term funding program, because they're all insolvent, which goes back to, again, this. Now, the markets might have some more upside potential because the markets are getting a liquidity injection from the reverse repo facility. You can see as this was rising, the markets topped, and then as this peaked right here is when around the time that the markets bottomed. But once this liquidity is gone, I don't really see any more upside personally. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to go over. Take care, peace.